Generative AI for assisted coding is a really popular use case for many of our clients. It may not produce the best code, but it's a useful starting point that saves engineers a considerable amount of time on tasks that are more time consuming than complex. That said, there are a few risks that companies should keep in mind when using assisted coding tools, but as well as mitigations that can help with those risks. And I'm going to talk about 5 of those today. So the first risk to think about is open source contamination. We know for a fact that all of the assisted coding tools have generally been trained on massive amounts of open source software and other public code. What this means is that there's a risk some of that open source software may be in the outputs. Now, this is really similar to the risk of using open source software in your proprietary code in general, except that you don't know what the license terms are. And so you wouldn't know, for example, if there's something with a copyleft effect or something that requires attribution on distribution. But some of the mitigations here would be to use filtering tools. A number of the assisted coding tools allow you to filter matches for code. Another mitigation would be to run scans to try to eliminate open source code. And then another mitigation would be to primarily use those tools for non-distributed code where the open source effects generally do not trigger. Second risk is related to IP ownership. Now, both the Copyright Office and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office have taken the position currently in the U.S. that there's no ownership of any outputs from AI-generated tools. And they've also further taken the position that if you want to seek registration of something that includes a combination of human and AI-generated authorship, that you actually need to indicate which parts were human-authored and which parts were AI-authored. Now, we appreciate that this can be really tricky when it comes to coding. And so again, a number of the mitigations that you can take here would be, for example, to document it to the extent possible, again, recognizing that that may be challenging. Only using it in certain parts of the code base. So for example, some companies will take the position that, the most important parts of their code base are just going to be completely free from generative AI. And then admittedly, some companies just take the position of, it's not part of our business model to try to seek patent or copyright registration on our software, so we're just going to let it go. That said, if you take that position, keep in mind that, for example, a future acquirer might have a different position. Third risk is trade secret protection. A number of tools will use any inputs as well as any outputs to further train the model. Now, if you're entering sensitive code into these tools, that could be a real risk to your proprietary code, which may then be fed out to another user of the software. Some of the mitigations there would be, A, pay attention to which tools you're using. They have different terms, and some of them will say right up front that they do or they don't use inputs to further train the model. Another mitigation would be that a number of the tools may allow you to toggle off that functionality, so you should select that your inputs cannot be used for further training. Fourth risk is malware. We already know that there are some bad actors who will intentionally inject viruses and other harmful code into these tools by including that in their inputs. And again, the mitigation there would be to run vulnerability scans and, just overall code review. And finally, keep in mind that this code isn't going to be perfect. And so you should generally subject it to code review and the normal processes of your business and human oversight to make sure that you're really putting the code that you want out into the market.